So this is the topic that I'm going to be covering, security models. So let's get started. First one is, before we get started with security models, let me tell you what a security model is or why do we even need it. But before I can tell you what a security model is, you first need to understand what a security policy is. Okay. So as you must be aware that organizations have security policies, right, which tell the employees or the company what needs to be done. For example, you may have a password policy in your company, you may have an access control policy in the company, you may have uh, maybe cryptography related policy in the company, which tells how the or which tells what controls need to be applied, right? Similarly, we have a security policy for systems as well, for systems, devices, for applications as well. Okay, it is different from organizational policy as it says here. However, the purpose is similar. So a security policy for a system tells what needs to be done for that on that system so that the system remains secure, because the system has different moving parts, a lot of moving parts, right? It in a system in a system there are multiple applications which are interacting with one another. There are different users that are trying to access various objects or resources on that system. So it is very important that all of these communications, these transactions happen in a secure manner. So how or what needs to be done to make sure that the system remains secure and stable, that is defined in a security policy. Okay. Now, the thing with security policy is that it is a very high level document. It's a very high level, it does not go into the details of how exactly things need to be done. It is at a very high level. For example, a security policy may say for a system or maybe for an application, a security policy may say that before a subject or before a user can access an object or a resource, that subject must be authorized to access the object, right? That is what the policy may say, to make sure that the objects or the resources are not accessed by unauthorized people or unauthorized subjects. So the policy may say that before an object can be accessed by a subject, the subject must be authorized. Okay. Now, this is a very high level statement, right? But how exactly that needs to be done, that will be defined by security model. So a security model will say, all right, so this is the policy that needs to be implemented, which says that every subject needs to be authorized before that subject can access the object. So how do we do it? Maybe let's collect the username first, then collect the password, then authenticate the user, and then maybe you could check for a few other things like which location the user is trying to access the application from, and what previous activities did the user perform to be able to access this resource. Should the user be allowed to access to this resource if the user performed so and so previous actions, all those things. So you can collect all of those details and then check whether the subject is authorized to access that object or not. Okay, so all of those details will be provided by the security model. It will provide you the formulas, the mathematical algorithms that need to be used to be able to implement that policy. And then the developers of that application or of that system, the programmers of that application or of that system, will use the security model to build the rules that are required to implement the security model. Okay. So I hope you understand what a security model is. So let me quickly go through what this mind map says here. It says a security policy of a system outlines goals for the system to meet so as to remain secure and stable, but it does not provide details on how these goals should be accomplished. A security model converts the abstract policy into mathematical formulas, relationships, data structures, etc., and it gives it a form which can then be implemented by different operating systems. Okay. Now, the security models that we have, each security model has a different purpose. Like some are focused more towards confidentiality, and some are focused more towards integrity, and some are very broad, some are very specific. So each security model is built with a different purpose in mind. Okay.